Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodian of this land, and pay my respect to the elders, both past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to the other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present here today. The Mineral Resources Authority of the independent state of Papua New Guinea is the custodian of the mineral resources of Papua New Guinea. We play a dual role. We are also the promoter of the mineral exploration and development, and also the regulator of the mineral exploration and mining industry. In terms of promoting the mineral exploration and development, we are mandated to undertake research and provide baseline geoscientific data sets that are required to entice or stimulate mineral exploration and also development. As the regulator, we issue licenses and also check for compliances. I believe the regulatory framework that is complete should attempt to cover the entire spectrum of the mine life cycle and without being prescriptive. The question is, are the existing government policies, legislation, regulation governing the industry adequate? Are they responsive to the changing global landscape that demands greater responsibility to environment, social governance, climate change, and license to operate? When we talk about ESG, is this something where the operators are obligated to their finances, or is this something that also trickle down to the environment in which they operate? There are some gaps within the laws, in particular in regards to mine closure and reclamation. We still have to develop some laws around that to manage our business. But the current laws that we have worked for the industry. Having said that, we have 4 world-class operating mines and other 3 medium and 3 small-scale hard rock mines in the country, as well as extensive alluvial operations in the country that are administered under the current laws, and they seem to work perfectly well for us. So in terms of the outlook, what are the major priorities as a regulator? Of course, the 3 major projects that we're all aware of are reopening of Pogra Mine, permitting of Wafi Golpu, and Freda River Copper Gold Project. Yeah. For Pogra, after the refusal of the extension application back in April 2020, there has been so many developments that are unknown to many. There was over a year of insurmountable legal proceedings that ensued, and thereafter there was a standstill agreement to set aside all the proceedings and engage on negotiations. It took over more than a year and a half or close to 2 years to conclude those agreements. And in June this year, they submitted the SML 13 application, and the head of state granted the special mining lease number 13 to New Porgera Limited to enable them to start the other regulatory process. As part of that process, in order to allow expedient reopening of the mine, there was a consent agreement between the landholders and New Porgera Limited that they would maintain the old compensation agreement until after the opening of the mine and re-engage on new compensation package negotiations. That has been done, and we are pleased to say that there are 2 outstanding landholders that need to agree on the compensation agreement, and we have had the announcement of the potential opening of the Porgera mine on the 22nd of December. There is, though, another process called the Community Development Agreement, or the MOA. I'm pleased to say that all the position papers have been received. One-to-one consultation with state team had commenced, and the stakeholders' final consultation and signing of the community development agreement is expected in Q1 2024. After the opening of the mine, there are other milestones in terms of meeting or reviewing the consent compensation agreement for a compensation agreement. There will also be relocation and resettlement plan and delivery of the community development programs. The resettlement relocation has been an issue in Porgera for many years. We have seen a lot of trespassers entering the exclusive occupancy zone because the landholders were still residing within the special mining lease. Hence, for those of you who are intending to apply for tenements, particularly mining tenements, either be special mining lease or mining lease, please ensure that you relocate or resettle any households within your exclusive occupancy zone prior to your commencement. That is our advice, and it will be the most sensible thing to do. For Wafi-Golpu project, as we all know the magnitude of that project, I am pleased to say that there is a memorandum of understanding signed between the state team and the proponents to guide the conversation under the mining development contract. The position papers for the community development agreement have been received from all stakeholders, and the state team have gone through the position papers. We believe once we get the mining development contract signed, the negotiations on community development agreement will commence, and about the time the Mining Advisory Council will deal with the application for special mining lease. We believe and we anticipate that by Q2 of 24, we should be able to issue the special mining lease for Wafi-Golpu. Again, there are other external factors that we do not have control over, and this schedule may not may not be realized as anticipated. I also believe that there is some clauses within what would be the mining development contract that will also tie the proponents to a schedule as to when they will commence construction of the project. With POGRA and WAFI, there are two things that I wish to point out to everybody, that in the past, many special mining leases have been issued without a mining development contract. But if we go strictly by the law, the mining development contract is really the document that will guide the operation under which the tenement will be issued. So it is only sensible to grant SML when the mining development contract is negotiated and signed. So that will be the trend going forward. So, this is the schedule that you all should be familiar by now. It is a mega project. Wafi Golpu will be the first underground block cave bulk mining method deployed in the country. It will cost about 2.8 billion capex, and a total sustaining capex will bring it up to about 5.3 billion US dollar. 28 years of mine life. Initially, it will employ around 2,600, but during the operational stage, because of the nature of the mining method, the number of employees may reduce down to about 800. The third project that we will be permitting in the near future is the Frida River project. It is a mega project, but located in a very isolated place with its own logistical challenges. As you've heard, there will be 4 interdependent components of the project, and I think there is also room for public-private partnership in terms of building the much-needed infrastructure in the region and also to support that project. Frida River is a complex project, and the footprints may be larger than anticipated, so the conversation around the various stakeholders may take longer. Now, I just had the presentation on Frida River that they are anticipating grant of the SML by around 2026. I'm a little bit optimistic. We may bring it a little bit forward, but as I've said, there are other factors that we don't have control over. After this, we will continue to do our normal bread and butter duties as a regulator. One of the things that I'm always very proud of, despite having some of the world-class deposits with very challenging setting, high rainfalls, active plate movement, and very unstable grounds. The shared value responsibility between our operators, the regulator, and everyone involved in the mining sector have reduced the fatalities from over 10 down to about 0 in 2017. Thereafter, we average about 1 death per year. And in last year, we had 0 fatality. But this year, unfortunately, we had 3 fatalities, meaning that we need to go back and start to get our house in order so that we continue to maintain the best safety record we believe we have. Apart from maintaining safety, there are other things that the MRA safety officers do. And there are many things that I don't want to name, but give you an example. The West Wall failure in 2017 at Okteri actually closed the central pit for over a period of 2 years, and that comes with a lot of cost. But with the help of the MRA engineers and Okteri, they were able to build impermeable drainage systems around the pit that control the runoff from getting into the pit. And in 2019, after 2019, when we went for a visit, Okteri pit was one of the driest pits in the country. So we are proud not only to regulate and become the policeman, but also to help maintain a safe working environment for everyone. I started off by saying that there are some gaps in our policies and our laws. In particular, resettlement and relocation. Minister Karinga Kua talked about defining the parameters of national content. I want to share a small story here. As a regulator, we give you the license from the state to explore and to develop mineral resources. The landholders in the country are the custodian of the land upon which your access is dependent upon. There is a second license, which I want to call social license. And that comes down to every individual operator to recognize that you have to earn your social license from the landowners. A case in point, in 2019, we received reports from media and other people that Geo-Pacific was building substandard homes. And you would see that on my right. These are the houses they were building for landowners. These are dwelling houses. The question was asked whether these were dwelling houses or security posts. I picked up the phone and called Ian. I said, can we stop the construction and have a chat about this? And he agreed to. 2 years on, I went down, and you can see on my left other houses that Geo-Pacific on Woodlark Gold Project built for the landholders under their resettlement relocation program. This is a company that did not get 1 ounce of gold from the ground. And if the top house that you see, if it was in Mosby, it would have gone for 600, 700,000 kina. And they built around 100 of them. 80 of them are 90% complete. They were to build 223 houses for the landholders. Those houses have electricity from solar panel. They have water tanks. The school was built, and while the new school was built, their children were transported on company transport to their old school and back and forth. The seedlings were transported from the old site to the new site. They were even given allowance to live on while their crops were growing. I call this a benchmark resettlement exercise. Some of you, and I think the general public here, have cried foul over many years saying that the state does not have visibility to how much gold and copper is being removed or mined from the mines across the country. And it has prompted some of us to look at how we can overcome this perception and to tell everyone that no, nobody is stealing anything. They are reporting correctly, and we have visibility to how much gold and copper is produced in this country. Today, I'm proud to announce that at the Mineral Resources Authority, we have developed real-time monitoring capability where we have access to advanced process control systems in almost all our mines in the country. What do I mean by that? For every mine, when the rock goes through the crusher and the tons of rock hits the mills, and as they go through the processing plant, we know how much metal is recovered, how much goes into the tailings, and how much of the product gets reported to the storage facility. And even to a point where we are now able to see how much, for example, in Okteri, how much concentrate is loaded onto a vessel in real time. I am told by U.S. State Department Deputy Secretary that this is the first of its kind he has seen. When we developed that system, we were also looking at the recovery. When a proponent submits proposal for development, there is also the expected recovery approved. And if the performance falls below that, and in the case, I want to point this out, in the case of Okteri, there were 3 consecutive years of 58% gold recovery, meaning 42% of the gold has been lost into the tailings. But today we are able to see real-time recovery. We're able to flag that poor performance, and they've optimized today. Okteri is recovering close to 78% gold, and they will be doing better. Some of the tailings today have been mined for rare earths. 3 of our existing mine plus the WAFI, if it comes on stream, will deploy deep-sea tailings placement. That means the metals will be lost forever into the ocean. That is why we need that capability to monitor that optimum recovery of metals is achieved by its operator in the country. So that's one of the other benefits that will come from this establishment. Having said that, there are many challenges as a regulator. One of the common things I've noted, the lack of communication and alignment within the state agencies and departments. That almost contribute to increasing litigation cases. What do I mean by that? We have SML area where there are people who applied for ILG or registered associations, without consultation. And this has contributed to a number of unnecessary litigation. So there must be some alignment in there. I have observed challenges in state delivering some of its commitments under the MOA or CDA. There is a slight shift where the social license obligations or community development obligations are being shifted to the project, either in terms of the annual OPEX or part of their gross revenue. There will be minor amendments to accommodate gaps in law, such as resettlement and relocation of landholders. But in a nutshell, I think as a mining industry, under the current regime, we have done exceptionally well. And I urge every one of us, as I always say, in the absence of law, or legislation, or policy, the word best practice comes in. And I don't know what best practice is all about, but for me, I define best practice as common sense. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.